Everyone can hear me okay. So first, tonight we're going to be talking about, we've titled this Let's Get Down to Business, risk management, pledging, fundraising, and many more other random topics. Really just to kind of get everyone in the swing of things. Now that the semester's been going for a little while and you're probably all getting really bogged down with exams and things like that, and so we just wanted to provide you with information to really get your semester off at a good start and, you know, keep it going strong throughout the year. So, next slide, here we go. So my name is Jordan Balu. I am a fall 2011 initiate of Delta Lambda Chapter, which is at Campbell University College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences in North Carolina, just about maybe 40 minutes south of Raleigh, the state capital. So, but I am now living in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm clinical assistant professor at the University of Mississippi School of Pharmacy. I've been in this position for about 3 months. A real person now, I guess you could say. Did my residency last year. So while I was at Delta Lambda, I was the chair of their golf committee, which plans a golf fundraiser each year that they actually just had this past weekend. And then I was also regent. And then after that, I served as the secretary of the Atlantic Province, went on to be the vice satrap, and I'm currently serving as satrap of the Atlantic Province. I've also had a lot of other involvement on committees and province committees and international committees, which is kind of what segued to this, is that I am currently serving on the Collegiate Development Committee, which is the committee that is hosting this webinar. So we also have Karen Long, our collegiate member at large, is on the webinar as our host, and very thankful to her and the work that this committee is doing and allowing me this opportunity to speak to you all. So let's jump on into all the information. So as I would not be faculty if I did not make objectives for the presentation, so we're going to talk about some policies that are in place and review the recent updates to those. We're also going to discuss recruitment, pledging, that sort of stuff, provide ideas. Really, we want this to be an idea exchange, so that will come later in the presentation. We're also going to review budgeting and planning for financial needs, which will hopefully segue into fundraising and you know, getting you all prepared to start planning for GCC attendance. So feel free as we go on through this webinar. I really want it to be interactive, so if you have questions, raise your hand. There's a little raise hand function on the webinar. You can also put comments in the chat or send me questions, and I'll get those as we go along, and Karen and I will be looking out to answer those as we go. So I think that's it for housekeeping. So let's go right into the information. So the first thing is policy updates. So hopefully you all are aware that as of August, the policies, several policies have been updated for the fraternity at large. Just as note, in case there are any graduate brothers on this webinar, that we chose to highlight the ones that are going to affect our collegiate brothers the most. So there are other policies that are applicable to grads, so this is not an exhaustive list of those policies. So the first one, probably the one that everyone hears about the most because it is the most important, is our risk management policy. And underneath of that, there are several subheadings. So we've listed some of them here, and it'll continue into the next slide. The first is alcohol and substance abuse. So there should be no promotion of alcohol at events, no promotion of happy hours or bars that are going to give a special price to Kappa Brothers. That should never be a thing that is done. There should also be no mass containers, so kegs or you know, liquor bottles that are just open for anyone to drink. Also, the policy does not allow for drinking games and songs related to Kappa Psi. That information should not be shared. The second portion is the hazing policy. So if a pledge perceives something as hazing, it should be avoided. And again, the operative word here is perceived. And perception is a big deal, and it's something that you can't change a person's perception. And so if they're perceiving it as hazing, then it's considered hazing. And so it's always very important to be really mindful of what we're doing with that involves pledges. That also goes into the human dignity portion of risk management. No harassment or discrimination of any kind will be tolerated. The next portion of risk management talks about rushing and pledging explicitly. So Brothers this is quoting from the information that's been shared, is that brothers must refrain from any language, gesture, or activity that a reasonable person may perceive as encouraging or coercing a pledge to consume alcohol or any mind-altering substance in any setting. So again, here's that word perceive again. It's all about perception. Brothers and potential pledges or potential members are always expected to maintain a level of professionalism. Remember, this is a professional pharmacy fraternity, and are always expected to treat each other with respect with regards to human dignity and our virtues. So the important thing to note with all of these risk management policies is that these were reviewed by the fraternity's insurance carrier, and so it is very important that we abide by these policies for the for our insurance carrier, because it costs a lot of money to insure fraternities these days, and it's really important that we comply with what they have said. So these new changes in the risk management policy do allow pledges to attend province meetings. So there was some talk earlier this year that pledges would not be allowed to attend province meetings, but they have decided that that will be allowed as long as the province does an appropriate risk management assessment and ensures compliance with this policy. So there was a lot of information, and some of it is available in the handouts. If you look in the webinar screen, there's a handout section. There's 5 of them available, one of which are the slides to this presentation, as well as the risk management, the risk management policy and procedure, as well as the entire CAPSI policy manual and the policy updates. So please make sure to review these, and especially, particularly the risk management policy, and present it to brothers and pledges yearly. Some other policy updates that have that came about were related to house rules at the Grand Council Convention. So, oh, sorry, it looks like we have a question. Let's see. So Blake Barlow from Upsilon Chapter in Kentucky has a specific question regarding item 11 on the new alcohol policy regarding pledges and alcohol use at CAPSI events. And I would say, Blake, I feel like this is kind of out of my realm, so I'm going to refer you to the Grand Vice Regent Mancini, and he should be able to assist you with some more appropriate wording and clarification on that policy. If you need his contact information, please email me, and my email is going to be at the end, and I can get you into contact with him. It's Grand Counselor at capsi.org, so that's pretty easy. Grand Counselor at capsi.org. No, sorry, he's not the Grand Counselor, he's the Grand Vice Regent. We're losing our minds here. It's Grand Vice Regent at capsi.org. Okay, moving on. I've got some good technical support here in my comments telling me to get with the program here. Okay, so next we're going to talk about house rules at the Grand Council Convention. So one of the big things here is that all chapter rosters must be up to date for a delegate to sit at the Grand Council Convention. So if your chapter has not submitted their chapter roster that has the delegate listed as a member of that chapter, then they will not be able to sit as your delegate. The next policy that affects collegiate brothers is on chapter dormancy. So a chapter will be declared dormant at the start of the 4th year after 3 consecutive years of non-payment to central office. So what this means, dormancy is basically your chapter charter would be removed, and you would no longer be a recognized chapter of the fraternity or your school of pharmacy. So the example is that if a chapter fails to pay their central office dues or risk management fee or anything like that in 2015, and then they didn't pay it this year, and then they also didn't pay it in 2017, at the start of 2018, that chapter would be considered dormant if they have not made any arrangements with the central office. So just something to keep in mind, that it's really important to pay your money to central office. And then the last policy update is there was previously a picture policy and a social media policy. Those have now been merged into the picture social media policy, which just some high points from that is that ritual-related information should never be posted in any social media setting, forum, blog, etc. It's important to be aware of all the things that are posted on our social media. This includes Snapchat, particularly I think a lot of provinces are starting to have geo filters on Snapchat. That's something that's really important to keep in mind, is that if you take a picture and then you put that geo tag on top of it, you want to make sure that it's in good taste, particularly at those late night activities. You also want to, again, review all pictures that are being taken, make sure that they're protecting the image of the fraternity. So the next thing is documentation related to these policies. So recently the Grand Regent has sent out information regarding the risk management verification form. So as I said before, every brother from every chapter should review the policy. Sorry, I'm getting a question. Let's see, Karen, it looks like the PowerPoint link is not working. Can you check into that and maybe upload a new PowerPoint link, like for this presentation? Thank you. So for the risk management verification form, so each at the fall province assemblies that are coming up and the ones that are already happening, the supervisors will be getting one representative from each chapter, so typically the regent or whoever's there as their delegate, to complete this risk management verification form, basically stating that, yes, I will take this information back to my chapter and we'll talk about it and review it. I also encourage you to review the Grand Vice Regent Mancini's PowerPoint, which is not attached. It's actually the updates PDF, I'm sorry, at an upcoming chapter meeting. And then each collegiate brother should also complete one of these risk management verification forms, and your chapter should maintain that until the brother graduates. And so this may have been done before, but since so many of the policies have changed, they want this to be done again right now, brand new. And then all new pledges should complete that as they are brought into the fraternity and then thereafter and maintained again until their graduation. The other important piece of documentation that is new is the GCD Verification Form. And so this was also sent out by the Grand Regent, that every GCD must complete this form. I believe the deadline they set was October the 15th. And the important part of that is that it has to be acknowledged by the dean of their school or college of pharmacy. So this may be their, you know, a GCD like a faculty advisor or a non-faculty brother that is acting as their GCD. So just keep that in mind, and it's the chapter's responsibility to make sure that their Grand Council deputy has this form completed by the deadline. Let's see. So it sounds like several of our handouts are not working, and it will not let us edit them right now because the webinar is in session, but we will email out all of the handouts to all of the attendees once the webinar is over. So I'm sorry for that technical difficulty, but we'll make sure that you get these handouts, certainly. So now we're going to move on to a fun topic. You know, policies are very important, and but sometimes we like to talk about recruitment and other activities as well. So basically, recruitment has a lot of steps. There's so the first part of that is rushing, and so rush is the time of the year where you are providing enough events and information that potential pledges can learn more about the fraternity. You want to, and you may have different restrictions based on your school. You know, your school may have an interfraternal council, or your student affairs office or something may dictate what you can or have to do for these portions. But it's really important that you provide a lot of good quality events and information. Now, I also have here that rushing is a two-way street. So it's not just about the pledges or the potential pledges finding out about Kappa Psi, but also for we as brothers to find out about the potential pledges. And it's a really great time to talk about how, what the fraternity has done for you, and also find out if you think that those individuals would be a good fit for the fraternity. So so we're going to do kind of a modified poll here. If you all want to put into the chat section what types of recruitment functions your chapter does. and what those are like. So put those in the chat now, and we'll kind of we'll mention some of them as you do that. All right, so we have a few here. It looks like bowling, volleyball games, a cookout, maybe a bonfire with s'mores. Here's a barbecue, so maybe same as a cookout, depending on what area of the country you are in. A tour of Madison, I'm guessing, is that the area where you might be? Bonfire and s'mores, and there's another mention for that. Kickball. So it sounds like athletic events are pretty popular. Some philanthropic open house, so that's a great time to show off your philanthropy, the great work that you're doing in your community. Another mention for bowling, so I think those are all great, really great ideas and activities. All right, anybody else want to share? Okay, thank y'all. Oh, let's see. Oh, an alumni panel, that's a really great idea. So maybe inviting some of your graduate brothers to come and serve on a panel, talk about maybe what they're doing in their careers and how CAPSI helped them to get there. Let's see. A social at a local baseball game. Brothers from the graduate chapter and other chapters visited. And oh, this is pretty cool. Here's a story from Hanley from Zeta Gamma. Said a graduate brother who happened to be at this baseball game with his church group, not even with Kappa Psi, saw them, recognized their jerseys at the game, and just came over to say hi. So that shows that you know, Kappa Psi really is everywhere. So that's great. Okay. So the other important part of recruitment is pledging. And so pledging is a structured series of education sessions in order for potential members to learn about the fraternity. It provides opportunities for the pledges to meet brothers, as well as, again, for the brothers to get to know the pledges and, you know, and make sure that they are a good fit for Kappa Psi. So oh, I'm sorry. So there was a question that says, if you're listening via phone, there is no comment section. So I would say, if you want to speak, you can leave a question like you just did, and I can unmute you so that you can speak about your ideas. Great question. I'm sorry I didn't think about that part for those attendees. Okay, so let's see. So would you like to speak now? I can unmute you. Let me find where you are. Hang on. Nope, not yet, she says. Okay. She's not ready to speak right now. Okay, so again, back to pledging. So it's an opportunity for pledges to meet with brothers to determine if it's something that they really want to be involved in, but also for the brothers to determine if the pledges are a good fit. And so hopefully each of your chapters has a pledge master or a pledge educator, you may call it, to serve in that role, to be that liaison and provide this structured education sessions. So it's really important, I think, for your pledging events to include service events, as well as opportunities for pledge bonding. And with each pledge, you should also review the hazing policy and make sure that they know that it is very important to the fraternity that they never feel that they are subjected to hazing. So again, we'll have an opportunity for free response here. What are some activities that your chapter uses to promote pledge bonding? You can leave it in the chat or post the questions, as many of you were doing before, or send a question that says you'd like to speak, and I'll unmute your microphone. Don't be shy. let's see. Oh, it looks like one, somebody said that their chapter goes to a haunted house, so they must do their pledging in the fall semester like this, and like right now, and they go to a haunted house, so that would certainly promote some pledge bonding and teamwork to be in those maybe higher stress situations. Let's see. Looks like they have weekly icebreakers with pledges, and then pledges are required to host their own community service event. So that's a great idea too, that they, you know, that they're required to kind of do the planning on their own, and that will kind of promote some teamwork there as well. We've got a retreat, so a pledge retreat, a movie night hangout with the pledges. Let's see. So there's one here that says there's an activity called Foundations. They play a game with bricks where they can't touch the ground, and they can't, so maybe they lay the bricks out on the ground. The pledges can't touch the ground and can't let go of the bricks, and they all have to get a certain length of the bricks before it's over. Let's see, would you like to maybe speak more about that, Devin, or did I explain that pretty well? I can unmute you, maybe. Oh, she's in the library, so she said I explained it well. Okay. Let's see, we also have, let's see, someone does a brother hunt, so each pledge is given a list of fun facts about brothers. They have to go around and ask a brother, ask them up to 3 questions to try and match the name to the fun fact. So that's definitely a great idea. It sounds really fun. We have another comment here, a lineage dinner. So graduate brothers will come back, and they'll have a dinner at a nice restaurant, and have you basically sit with your family line and get to know each other, and again promoting that Catholicised for life mentality. Great. Okay. Anyone else have any comments or ideas they'd like to share? These are all really awesome. I hope everyone's taking notes for yourselves to take back to your chapter. That's great. Okay. So then again, with recruitment, so initiation, of course, is the big event. It's very important that your chapter reviews the rituals to make sure that you have all the necessary regalia and make sure that you follow the ritual. The ritual is the thing that binds all of our chapters across the country together. So, so that's something that makes sure that it's very important and is taken very seriously, and that you incorporate all the necessary pieces there. Also, remember with initiation, the risk management policies: no hazing or forceful activities for the pledges. And then be sure to make it a memorable night. So I know that you know, I remember my initiation day and all of the fun activities leading up to it and around it. So plan to do something before or after, like a dinner or a social gathering. You may do like a whole week leading up to it with different activities depending on your chapter and your traditions there. So we're going to kind of switch gears here now, talking more about just kind of different activities in your chapter that will help throughout the semester, hopefully. So one thing is chapter committees. So hopefully, you know, through your local ordinances, you do have a number of committees that you're required to have, as well as some extra ones maybe that you've implemented over the years. So it's really important to utilize your committees to conduct the work of the chapter. They should be the ones who are making your more detailed decisions. If you're going to plan a formal event, you may have your formal or social committee, and they go through and talk about the dinner menu and the location and you know, things like that. And instead of having your entire chapter being in those decisions about what type of chicken you're going to eat or things like that, it's really good to utilize your committees for that, because they, you know, that's kind of like a subset of your chapter to be able to make those decisions. For any of the regents or other chapter officers, it's a really great idea to set committee charges for each of your committees, so charges that they're responsible for, as well as with accountability built in. So this might be measurable output and with including deadlines. So if you have your, say you have your history committee, you want to say the history committee shall publish 2 newsletters each year, one in the spring semester and one in the fall semester, or something like that. That's kind of utilizing that SMART goal technology, or not technology, but terminology, excuse me, to make sure that you know, that things are getting accomplished by your committees. It's also really important that the committees report back to the chapter, and this can be done in your It's either electronic, depending on how you run your meetings, or it can be done in the chapter meeting. So you may, if your chapter meets every other week, then you may say at least once a month, every committee must report something at a chapter meeting about what they've been doing. Or you may have them submit electronic reports and just make that available to the brothers to look at. So again, utilizing your committees to do the bulk of the work will make your chapter meetings much more efficient, because they're conducting those detailed things, and then they're also sharing it back with the chapter and making sure that everyone stays informed. So now we're going to talk about finances. So I think this is an area that a lot of collegiate chapters can use some help in. It's a really great idea to make a budget for your year. And this may, it may depend on how you collect dues. So if you collect dues each semester, then you may just make a semester budget, or things like that. Or if you have quarters, if you're on a quarter system and you do it that way, it'll be kind of dependent on your chapter. So you want to take into account the amount of fundraising that you'll need outside of your dues that you collect, as well as costs for recruitment, service events. If you put any money towards a scholarship for your chapter, or donations to the Kappa Foundation, as well as if you support your brother's attendance to province assemblies or the Grand Council Convention when that occurs. So it's really important to take all these things into account. One thing that we did when I was regent, and now as SATRAP, was at the beginning of the term, we kind of solicited the committee chairs and asked them, what type of money, what type of money amounts do you think that you're going to need as the year goes on? So if you think about, if you think about your philanthropy chair saying, well, I'm going to need, $150 to conduct this event or something like that. So getting input from your committee chairs and then trying to make that fit within your dues budget is really beneficial for your finances for the year. Excuse me. So now specifically we're going to talk about fundraising. So it's really important in fundraising to do your research, and this is going to be related to cost efficiency as well as interest in fundraising items. So you want to make sure that your fundraisers are going to make money and be something that people want to purchase. So some ideas that we kind of came up with here were clothing sales. So you could do Kappa Psi swag as well as just pharmacy related, or things for your college to be able to sell to a larger population of individuals. You can also do a restaurant fundraiser, so where they might kick a little bit of their profit to you if you bring more people in that day. Peeler cards, so I guess that's like coupon cards, as well as maybe like a lunch bar, a bake sale at your school. Another really great idea is to set up alumni donation. So I don't know if anyone is on from Gamma Phi at the University of Georgia, but they have this program called the 99 Club, where that I know has been pretty successful for them, where brothers get set up on an automatic donation of $99 a month, and this basically goes to help them travel to province assemblies, to GCC, and things like that. And it really, I think it's a big draw for their chapter and the finances that they make. I think, and they have information about it on their website. It's I guess if you just probably Googled Atlantic or Kappa Psi Gamma Phi, you would be able to find their website. But that's one that I've seen that has been really successful. And then also sometimes colleges or schools of pharmacy will provide funds for each organization for travel funds, or maybe registration fee reimbursement, things like that. So definitely exhaust your resources there in terms of collecting funds outside of your dues. So what are some of your chapter's fundraising techniques and maybe different activities that you're doing? Let's see. Okay, Halloween and Valentine's candygram sales. So that's a great one. Takes probably minimal effort on the part of the chapter. You can have each brother bring in a bag of candy and then stuff the bags and sell them, and then the chapter really doesn't have to spend any money. That's a great one. We've got a car wash, so again, probably minimal output, maybe buying some supplies up front. Taco dinner, so another dinner event for sure, barbecue dinner, something where, you know, you can get your brothers to donate the items and then you can just kind of put it all together and sell it. To different sporting tournaments, so volleyball, dodgeball, softball tournaments where people pay an entry fee and then form teams. That's a great one. Oh, there's a lot coming in. Okay, Yankee candle sales, so setting up a sale with Yankee Candle and then giving you portions of that for sure. I've seen that several times. Apparel sales, planner sales, that's a good one. Bagel sales, okay. White coat, so if your school doesn't provide white coats for students, then you can certainly, you know, get a white coat sale going on. That's a great one. Coupon books. Also going along with that, maybe blood pressure cuff and stethoscope sales. Yeah, we got that one twice. That's great. So if you're, you know, for P1s especially when they're having to buy those items, if you can sell it to them, that's even better. A Panera, so another dinner night. What else? Oh, a yard sale. That's a great one. So have your brothers donate their items that, you know, especially that's a great time in the spring to hit up your P3s that are getting ready to go out on rotations and make them clean out their closets before they go to move maybe and have a yard sale. That's a great one. Personalized mortar and pestle. So certainly selling those. That's a great one, especially if you can target parents. That's a really great thing if your school will let you contact parents or spouses of students. Exam kit bags. So again, that was one as well to target individuals, and you know it takes very minimal effort and just put these bags together and give them out during final exam, like a survival kit, maybe with highlighters, pens, pencils, note cards, ramen noodles, granola bars, things like that. Oh, and kind of along that as well, a midnight breakfast during finals week. That's a great one. Everybody's on campus. Try to get them fed. An accessory sale with your school of pharmacy logo, so coffee mugs, lanyards, decals. You guys have so many great ideas. Okay, a bake sale, yes. A lab values badge card. So is that maybe like a little card that you would put on the back of your badge that has lab values on it? That's great. A finals care package, there's that one again. That's awesome. Okay, anything else that anybody would like to share or talk more about? These are really great ideas. I wonder if we can save this. I'll figure that out later. Okay. So speaking of fundraising, it's really important for your chapter to start planning now to attend the next GCC. So hopefully many of you know that the 58th Grand Council Convention is coming up. It's August 1st through the 5th, 2017 in Naples, Florida. So for those of you that are thinking about it now, it's definitely a great idea to go ahead and start planning to attend. So it's an international meeting of all Kappa Psi brothers, collegiate and graduate, that are welcome to attend, and it's getting bigger every single year. So I know that every year it's the biggest one that we've had, so it's definitely a great event that you don't want to miss out on. I've been to 2 now and have really just made lasting friendships and relationships with brothers from all across the country. So since we were talking about fundraising, some costs to consider are listed here for you. So the central office does pay for the travel costs for one delegate from every chapter to attend. And so before the Grand Council Convention, they'll post a listing of the amount that they're going to pay, and it's basically like one round-trip airfare from the closest airport to your chapter. And so they'll say what that amount is, and then as long as a delegate shows up and is in attendance, your chapter will be reimbursed that money. So travel costs, there are a couple of airports near Naples that you can fly into. I know there's one in Naples. You can also, I think Miami is nearby, Fort Lauderdale kind of are in that area. I'm not really good with geography, but I know that there are a couple of airports that you can fly into, and then Fort Myers is one, okay. So hotel is also an expense to consider. Your food options. So in these areas, sometimes food is a little bit more expensive than being at home. You'll also want to consider costs related to purchasing CAPSI gear. So there's always a chapter sales section at GCC where your chapter, any chapter, can bring different CAPSI swag that they have basically and put it for sale. So you'll see lots of really cool stuff, and it's something to keep in mind for your chapter to bring also is those items. You can get croquis and T-shirts and signs and flags and all cups and business cards holders and all kinds of things, as well as tourist attractions and any excursions that they may offer around the event. So there is a question, how much is registration? I don't know that that has been released yet. Karen, if you can maybe chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. It should be, so she says it should be around the same as last time, which I believe is in the $300 range. Again, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't really say at this time, but as soon as that information is available, it will be emailed out to the CAPSI Google Group listserv. So if you're not on that listserv, you definitely want to join it, and you can email me, and we can get you connected with the listserv. So any other questions related to GCC? So it's basically just a really fun event. There's some business, of course. We conduct the business at the fraternity, but there's also a lot of fun, lots of social activities. You'll get to meet brothers from all across the fraternity, past International Executive Committee officers, as well as electing the next IEC, which is always really exciting and a really lively event to be a part of. It's really being a part of the history of the fraternity. So, so the only thing I have left for you is that our next webinar for the Collegiate Development Committee webinar series will be on November the 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So go ahead and mark your calendar. It's about it's called Standing Out for the Right Reasons: Strategies and Secrets for Success. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Strategies and Secrets for Success in the Hunt for Residency and Postgraduate Employment. Our presenters will be Adam Gregg, who's in Clinical Education and Development Coordinator of the PGY1 Pharmacy Residency Program Director at Gunderson Health System in Wisconsin, as well as Deanna McDaniel, Clinical Pharmacy Specialist at PGY2 Ambulatory Care Pharmacy Residency Program Director at University of Iowa. So there will be a link for registration sent out via Facebook, as well as the email listserv. Again, you've got to get on those listservs and be in the Facebook group. So at this time, I will take any more questions that you all have. If you decide you have questions later or want to ask them kind of offline of the webinar, even though email is online, but it's offline of this situation, there's my email address. Please do not hesitate to contact me, or you can go ahead and ask your questions here. It doesn't look like there are any questions, but you guys kind of asked them all throughout, so that's great. Okay, so again, there will be a survey that will be sent out after this webinar, and we'd really love your feedback. It has an evaluation basically just saying how we did and what other topics you might like to hear about in the future. So I really encourage you to fill that out. It's really super short, maybe 5 questions. And Blake, I would encourage you also to reach out to Grand Vice Regent at capsi.org, Brother Robert Mancini, for further clarification on your question regarding pledges and alcohol use at CAPSI events. And if there aren't any other questions, then I really thank you all for your time, and really glad that you were here. Let's see, Anna Kay. Maybe let's talk offline, Anna Kay, about your question regarding new chapters, since I feel like that's pretty specific. Okay, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate your attentiveness throughout the webinar. Hope you all have a great rest of your week.